Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast.
It is great to be here.
Today we are tackling a subject that I think feels like the holy grail of modern employment. We're talking about the transition from the traditional, grinded out 40-hour work week to something shorter, something more productivity focused.
Right, like the 32-hour week or even the 5-hour workday.
Oh, great.
And it's a topic that is gaining a massive amount of traction, not just as a nice-to-have perk, but as an absolute business necessity.
It's interesting you say necessity, because I want to start with a question that I think everyone listening has secretly asked themselves at like 3 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Okay.
Is the 8-hour workday actually efficient? Or is it just a habit we can't seem to break?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And to answer it, we are looking at a really fascinating piece of research from smartkeys.org.
Okay.
Specifically, an article by Felix Römer titled Shorter Workday, Higher Productivity, exploring why less can be more.
And this is recent, right?
Yeah, it was posted in February 2026, so it is right on the pulse of where we are today.
Right. And just to set the stakes here, we aren't just talking about people wanting to go home early to watch Netflix.
Not at all. I want to frame this correctly for you. This isn't just a trend piece or some, stuff about work-life balance.
It's more strategic.
It's a strategic resource for professionals who are trying to navigate the landscape of 2026. Because the harsh reality is, the old way just isn't working.
How so? Give us the grim details.
Well, looking at the broader context, the World Health Organization has officially classified burnout as an occupational phenomenon.
So it's a medical reality now.
It is. And while long shifts used to be this badge of honor, especially in the startup world.
Oh, yeah. Sleeping under the desk, first one in, last one out.
Exactly. But the data is proving that they just drive stress, not results.
That is exactly what we're going to unpack today. Our mission is to figure out how to achieve less is more without sacrificing your output, your pay, or your career growth. So let's dive in.
Let's do it.
I want to start by clarifying the terms because I feel like I hear shorter work week thrown around a lot, and it usually means very different things.
Sure.
Is this just cramming 40 hours of work into 4 days? Because frankly, working 4 10-hour days sounds absolutely exhausting.
I'm so glad you asked that immediately because that is the most common misconception. It's the first critical distinction Römer makes in the text.
Okay.
What we are discussing here is not a compressed schedule.
So no 10-hour marathons.
No. Compressed schedules, the 4-10 model, are when you still work 40 hours, but you just squash them into 4 days.
And that just moves the burnout around, I imagine.
It does. You're trading a Friday off for 4 days of misery where you have zero time for, family, the gym, anything.
Right.
What the source material advocates for is a genuine reduction in total hours. We are talking about approximately 32 hours a week.
So that could look like 4 8-hour days.
Exactly. Or, for some organizations, it might be 5 shorter 6-hour days.
And here is the part where the skeptics start listening closer. What happens to the paycheck?
The pay stays at the full-time rate.
That is the dream right there. Less time, same money. But obviously a CEO isn't going to agree to this just out of kindness.
No, we aren't running charities here.
The argument has to be that the current 8-hour model is just fundamentally broken.
It is broken.
Yeah.
And the stats in this article are honestly kind of shocking when you see them laid out.
Oh, yeah.
The source highlights that the typical 8-hour day is packed with wasted minutes that absolutely destroy productivity.
What kind of waste are we talking about here?
Let's start with email. The average employee receives over 300 business emails per week.
300? That actually feels low for some weeks, to be honest.
Might be for you.
Yeah.
But think about the cognitive load of that, and it gets worse. People are checking their inboxes over 30 times an hour.
That is, once every 2 minutes.
Every 2 minutes. Think about that. You are trying to write a report or code something or design a strategy, and every 120 seconds, you are glancing away to check a notification.
It's like trying to sleep with a mosquito in the room. You can never actually relax into the work.
That's a perfect analogy. And then you add meetings on top of that.
Yeah.
The data shows people spend about 31 hours per month in meetings.
31 hours.
And let's be honest, many of those yield very, very little value.
So that's almost a full work week every single month, just sitting in conference rooms or staring at Zoom calls.
Precisely. But here is the crucial cognitive detail that I think explains why we feel so tired even when we feel like we haven't done anything.
Okay.
It's about what happens after the interruption, whether it is a ping, an email, or a, hey, got a minute. Do you know how long it takes to refocus?
I've heard it takes a bit, maybe. 5 minutes.
Try over 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Over 20 minutes.
Yeah.
To get back to the same level of deep cognitive function you had before the ping. So if you are checking email 30 times an hour, you are mathematically never actually in a state of deep focus.
You're just skimming the surface all day.
This leads to what the text calls fragmented focus. Your day feels incredibly full, you are busy every second, but your real output, the actual value you created, is low.
That hits home. You leave the office exhausted, feeling like you ran a marathon, but you look at your to-do list and nothing important is crossed off.
Exactly. You were just treading water. That is the busy trap.
So what's the solution?
The solution proposed isn't just work less, it is work differently. The text calls for focused, interruption-free windows.
This reminds me of the concept of sprints mentioned in the article. Can you explain how that applies here?
Sure. Think of it like interval training for your brain. Instead of a marathon of 8 hours where you kind of pace yourself and get distracted,
Right.
you break big projects into short, manageable benchmarks. You sprint.
Meaning you go dark, no Slack, no email.
Correct. You focus intensely for a shorter period, say 90 minutes. Get the benchmark done, and then you disconnect. It shifts the entire metric from time spent to outcome achieved.
Okay, I buy the psychology of it. I think we all know we work better when we aren't being pestered. But I can hear the managers listening right now saying, okay, that sounds nice, but how can we afford to lose 8 hours of labor a week per person?
Right. Who does the actual work?
Yeah.
That brings us to the enablers.
Yeah.
You cannot have a 32-hour work week with, like, 2015 technology. You just can't. The backbone of this shift is AI, automation, and cloud tools.
So the robots are finally helping us leave early.
In a way, yes. The text emphasizes that these tools cut out the repetitive tasks, reporting, scheduling, routine customer replies.
Okay.
But if we look at the context of 2026, which is where this article is situated, we see new roles emerging that make this possible.
Right. There was that fascinating graphic in the source material about the future of remote work. It listed some specific job titles that didn't really exist a few years ago.
Exactly. It helps to look at who is facilitating this speed. Think about a role like the AI prompt operations specialist.
That sounds fancy. What does that person actually do?
It sounds technical, but think about the efficiency gain. In the past, a marketing team might spend 3 days drafting and redrafting a campaign.
Sure.
An AI prompt operations specialist refines the inputs to get the result instantly, then just runs analyses to check for errors in tone. They are doing 3 days of work in 3 hours.
So they aren't writing the copy, they are architecting the output.
Precisely. Or take another one, the cloud security automation engineer.
What's their role in saving time?
Well, traditionally, security reviews were a huge bottleneck. Developers would write code, and then a security team would have to manually review it all at the end of the week.
Which slowed everything down.
It did. This new role automates security checks directly into the development pipeline. So the check happens while the code is being written.
So you don't have a human manually reviewing every line of code on a Friday afternoon.
Exactly. It is happening automatically in the background.
So the argument is, as these specialized roles refine the AI and automate the grunt work, the rest of the human workforce is freed up.
Correct. We are free to focus on high-value strategy, the stuff AI can't do yet. But technology is only half the battle. You also have to fix the culture.
Specifically, the meeting culture.
Oh, yes. The advice in the text was pretty strict on this.
Aggressive, even.
It has to be. If you are cutting hours, you have to cut the fat. You can't work 32 hours and spend 15 of them in meetings. The recommendation is cutting routine meetings down to 15-minute stand-ups.
Love that. Get in, get out.
And strict agendas. If there is no agenda, there is no meeting. Period. This directly combats that 31 hours a month statistic we talked about.
It sounds like you really have to be disciplined. You can't just be casual about your calendar anymore.
That's the trade-off. You get your life back, but your work time becomes much more intense, much more focused.
So if we strip away the waste and use the tech, it becomes feasible. But let's talk about the why. What is the ROI here for a business?
It is absolutely a business strategy, not charity. The expert view here is that the productivity gains are real.
Okay.
Trials referenced in the text show that when you limit those pings and set day-level goals, fewer hours equal better work. The quality goes up because the fatigue goes down.
And I would imagine there is a huge angle here for recruitment.
Massive.
Yeah.
I mean, we are in a hyper-competitive talent market. If Company A offers 40 hours a week and Company B offers 32 hours for the same pay,
Just a no-brainer. Company B, every time.
is a huge differentiator. It signals that the company values output over seat time. It's the ultimate perk, really.
But the article also mentioned cost savings that I hadn't really thought about. It's not just about salaries.
Right. Think about the physical overhead. If you are closing the office 1 day a week, you have lower utility bills, less wear and tear on equipment,
Fewer commutes, so eco gains too.
big ones, less electricity, less coffee, less water, and then, of course, the employee welfare side of things.
Which translates to retention.
Directly. The text lists lower childcare costs as a major win. I mean, if you're home on Fridays, that's one less day of expensive daycare.
That's huge for working parents.
And it connects back to another concept from the source. Managing energy, not time. When people have that better balance, their loyalty skyrockets and turnover drops. And turnover is incredibly expensive.
Okay, so it sounds amazing, but I have to ask the practical questions. This can't be all sunshine and rainbows. What are the gotchas?
And you should. The text has a whole section on challenges. This isn't a magic switch you can just flip.
Right.
The biggest hurdle is probably coverage gaps.
Exactly. If everyone takes Friday off, what happens when a client calls on Friday with an emergency? You can't just say, sorry, call back Monday.
Right. What if a client calls and nobody is home? That is the fear. The text suggests a few strategic solutions. First, automation again, chatbots, FAQs, that kind of thing.
To handle the easy stuff.
But for industries that need a human presence like healthcare, logistics, security, you can't just close.
So how do they do it?
Staggered schedules. Team A works Monday through Thursday. Team B works Tuesday through Friday. Or you use rotating teams. It ensures the business is always open, even if individuals aren't.
So better scheduling. But what about the employees themselves? Is there a risk they just end up working overtime in secret?
That is called scope creep, and the text warns specifically about it. You might have employees logging off at 2 p.m., but then secretly working until 7 p.m. just to keep up.
Which defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah.
Then you just have a stressed employee who is lying about their hours.
Completely. And the fix here is entirely on management. Managers have to track real workload, not just attendance. They need to set clear limits and make sure the work is actually achievable in the new time frame.
It sounds like managers actually have to, well, manage.
Imagine that.
And then there is the boring admin stuff.
Yeah.
The paperwork.
The necessary evils, policy hurdles. You have to update PTO accrual, holiday calculations, wage and hour laws. It's not the sexy part, but you have to get it right.
Okay, so let's say there is a listener right now. They're nodding along. They want this. How do they actually start?
Well, I wouldn't recommend just walking into your boss's office and saying, see you on Tuesday.
Right. Probably not a good career move.
No. The text offers a very practical roadmap, and step one is start small.
A pilot program.
Exactly. Don't change the whole company at once. Pick one unit, the marketing team, maybe. Set a timeline, say 3 months. And most importantly, you have to define what you're measuring.
And it can't be hours in seat.
Never. You measure outcomes, throughput, quality, customer satisfaction. If those metrics stay steady or go up while hours go down, you have a winning case.
You need the data.
You need the data.
I also noticed a note in the implementation section about culture. A risk that if everyone is hyper-focused, you lose that water cooler chat, that team bonding.
That is a very real risk.
Yeah.
If you optimize everything for efficiency, you can lose serendipity. The suggestion is to be intentional about social time.
Schedule it in.
Schedule it in. Virtual coffee breaks, monthly meetups. You replace the accidental water cooler moments with intentional connection.
So it requires more planning, but potentially leads to better quality interaction.
Exactly. It's about being deliberate with all your time, not just your work time.
So let's wrap this up. What does this all mean for us?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the message from SmartKeys and Felix Römer is clear. The future of work looking at 2026 and beyond is about results, not presence.
Right.
The 40-hour week was invented for factory floors a century ago. It was designed for assembly lines, where time equals output.
And we aren't on assembly lines anymore.
Exactly. It's becoming an efficiency bottleneck in the digital age.
It feels like we're finally growing up as a workforce,
Yeah.
stopping the theater of looking busy and starting to actually value the output.
That is it. It is shifting from how long were you here to what did you create?
And that leads me to a final thought for you listening. If we are moving toward roles defined by deep thinking, by managing AI, by creative strategy, is time spent even a relevant metric anymore? Maybe the real metric we should be obsessed with isn't hours, but value created.
A powerful shift in perspective.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the SmartKeys podcast. We hope this deep dive gave you some ammo for your next strategy meeting, or at least some hope that a 3-day weekend might be in your future.
Absolutely.
If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to the podcast. We are constantly exploring the future of work, and you don't want to miss what's coming next.
And I highly recommend reading Felix Römer's full article. We cover the high points, but there are specific details in there that are worth a read if you are serious about this.
You can find the link to that article right in the show notes. Go check it out. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you in the next deep dive.